I pause at the entrance of Oakview Country Club's grand ballroom, my fingers instinctively smoothing the fabric of my pale blue sundress. The dress cost $30 at a boutique sale in Austin, practical, unassuming, invisible, just like me. Inside, crystal chandeliers cast prismatic rainbows across custom floral arrangements that probably cost more than my monthly rent back when I was starting out. Champagne bubbles rise in delicate flutes, and waitstaff in crisp white uniforms weave between guests with silver trays of appetizers I won't touch. And there sits Sabrina, my older sister, perched on what can only be described as an ivory throne. She's draped in a designer maternity gown that hugs her 7-month baby bump perfectly. Her manicured hands unwrap gift after extravagant gift, each box tied with satin ribbon, each card read aloud with theatrical appreciation. Oh my goodness, a silver baby rattle from Tiffany. Margaret, you shouldn't have. Sabrina's voice carries across the room with practiced melody. Our mother, Marlene, hovers at Sabrina's elbow, collecting discarded wrapping paper with the precision of a surgeon. Her eyes shine with pride as she surveys the room filled with Dallas's finest. Phones raised to capture every moment for social media immortality. I stand still, watching. Nobody notices me yet. Nobody ever does. Well, look who finally decided to grace us with her presence. Sabrina's voice cuts through the polite chatter. Every head turns. The poor sister finally made it. A ripple of uncomfortable laughter spreads through the crowd. I feel my spine stiffen, but my face remains neutral, a skill perfected over 31 years of practice. Sorry I'm late, I say, walking toward her with measured steps. Traffic from Austin was terrible. You probably worked overtime just to afford the gas to get here. Sabrina's laugh tinkles like breaking glass. More nervous chuckles follow from the audience of spectators. I notice Cole, Sabrina's investment banker husband, smirk from his position by the bar. His eyes, cold as February steel, track me with something between amusement and disdain. Mother glances between us with a tight smile, but says nothing. She never does. The familiar knife of disappointment twists in my chest, but I've grown accustomed to the pain. This scene has played out countless times before, in different settings but with the same script. When I won the statewide coding competition at 16, Dad bought Sabrina a BMW for making cheerleading captain. My perfect SAT scores merited a casual nod. Her C+ average earned a celebration dinner. My Stanford acceptance letter was dismissed as a good fallback school by my father, Robert, while Sabrina's community college enrollment warranted a catered party. For years, I've returned for every holiday, birthday, and milestone. I've sat quietly while they dismissed my career as playing with computers. I've nodded politely when they suggested I find a husband before it's too late. I've endured their patronizing, pats and dismissive glances, all while quietly building an empire they know nothing about. Come see what the Andersons gave us, Sabrina calls out, gesturing toward a ridiculously oversized stuffed giraffe. It's almost as tall as you are. Lovely, I murmur, placing my small gift bag on the overflowing table. The handmade blanket inside took me 3 months to knit between conference calls and board meetings. I told her not to ask you for anything from your registry, Mother whispers to Sabrina, loud enough for me to hear. You know her budget is limited. My cheeks burn, but I keep my expression neutral. What they don't know could fill volumes. What they don't know has filled my bank accounts. Krista, Sabrina calls out as I turn away, I was just telling everyone how you're still working for that little startup in Austin. What was it again? Something with computers? Something like that, I reply, my voice steady despite the rage bubbling beneath my skin. Honestly, I don't know how you survive, she continues, one hand resting protectively over her belly. You probably can't even afford Oakview's membership fee. The room falls silent, the cruelty too blatant to ignore. Several guests shift uncomfortably. A woman I don't recognize studies her champagne glass with sudden interest. I look at my sister. Really look at her. The perfect hair that took 2 hours at the salon this morning. The diamond earrings Dad gave her for Christmas. The smug certainty that she is, and always will be, the winner of our lifelong competition. You're right, I say, my voice soft but carrying. Not everyone belongs here. I offer a small, enigmatic smile that seems to confuse her. For the first time today, uncertainty flickers across her face. Without another word, I turn and walk toward the exit, my pace unhurried, my posture straight. Behind me, I hear Mother's voice, Resume the baby shower script, urging someone to bring out the cake. In the marble-floored lobby, I pull out my phone and type a quick message to Michael Denton, Oakview's general manager. Execute protocol Delaney, effective immediately. The response comes seconds later. Yes, Miss Delaney, right away. I step outside into the Texas sunshine, take a deep breath of fresh air, and wait. The Delaneys are about to discover that not all power comes with a membership card. I step outside and reach for my car. The party is over, at least for me, but for my family it will begin soon. The air conditioning blasts cold against my flushed skin as I lean back against buttersoft leather. Sabrina's voice echoes in my head, each barb fresh despite years of calluses built against them. Stanford? I guess that's fine if you couldn't get into Yale. That was Thanksgiving 2011. Your little computer thing sounds cute, like a hobby that keeps you busy. Christmas dinner 2016, after I'd secured my second round of venture funding. She'd have a husband by now if she didn't work such odd hours with all those nerdy guys. Mother to Aunt Diana at Father's birthday, while I stood 5 feet away, apparently invisible. The pattern never varied. I'd achieve something extraordinary. They'd dismiss it while praising Sabrina's mediocrity. I'd need space from their toxicity. They'd accuse me of abandoning family. Then, inevitably, the calls would come. Krista, honey, Sabrina's down payment is just a little short. Could you help? Just until Cole's bonus comes through. Your father's golf membership needs renewal. It's only $15,000. We know you're busy with your computer job, but could you loan us $60,000 for Sabrina's wedding? We'll pay you back. They never did. What burned most wasn't the money I had plenty. It was their contempt, wrapped in syrupy requests. The assumption that my achievements were trivial, my success accidental. Your tech thing is just a hobby. Father had declared when I tried explaining my company's valuation had hit $100 million. Real businesses make real products, Krista. The next day, I bought my first country club, not to use to own. I pull up my banking app and scan through my accounts. Personal net worth, $2.1 billion. The number still startles me sometimes, though it's been 3 years since I sold my company for $900 million. The realization had struck me during the signing of those final documents. I'd been seeking validation from people who didn't matter, people who would never see me clearly, because their worldview required me to remain small. I opened my email to find a message from Jessica, my executive assistant. Strategic holdings updated. Oakview ownership details remain confidential through the Delaware LLC structure. Instructions for protocol Delaney received. Confirmation required. I type quickly. Confirmed. Proceed. My phone rings immediately. Miss Delaney. Michael's voice is smooth, professional. I'll handle this personally. Discreetly but promptly, as requested. Thank you, Michael. I hesitate, an old reflex of doubt surfacing. The family member in question is pregnant. I understand. His tone holds no judgment. We'll ensure her comfort during the process, but the protocol will proceed as established. I remember hiring Michael 2 years ago when my hospitality investment firm acquired Oakview. He'd impressed me with his intelligence and discretion. Unlike my family, he saw me clearly from day one, not as Sabrina's shadow, but as a formidable businesswoman worth respecting. The board has been notified of your decision, he continues. They support it fully. Of course they do. I own controlling interest. I glance at my watch. 2 minutes until execution. My stomach knots as I tap the security app on my phone. 4 different camera feeds appear, showing the baby shower from various angles. Sabrina still sits on her throne, laughing at something Cole said. Mother hovers nearby, handling each discarded gift wrap with reverence. Father stands with his golf buddies, likely discussing handicaps and stock tips. None of them know what's coming. Is this too harsh for a pregnant woman? The thought flickers, then extinguishes. This isn't about the baby. This is about respect, or its absence. About boundaries never honored. About 31 years of calculated cruelty, disguised as family dynamics. I watch Michael enter the frame, approach the center of the room, and speak briefly to the event coordinator. The woman nods, steps to the sound system, and cuts the music. Michael moves toward Sabrina, his posture perfect, his expression professionally neutral. Even without audio, I can read the shift in the room's energy confusion, then discomfort, then shock rippling through the guests. I see Sabrina's face contort in disbelief, then fury. Mother's hand flies to her throat in her signature pearl-clutching gesture. Father's shoulders stiffen as he strides toward Michael, finger already jabbing the air. A strange, unfamiliar sensation spreads through my chest, not satisfaction exactly, but something adjacent. Relief, perhaps. Or liberation. My phone vibrates with a message from Jessica. Protocol. Delaney. Executing smoothly. Security standing by. Legal team on alert. I nod to myself, watching the scene unfold. For 3 decades, I've been Sabrina's foil, mother's afterthought, father's disappointment, the invisible daughter, the useful wallet, the failed female who chose career over marriage. Someone hands Sabrina a tissue. Cole stares daggers at Michael. A security team appears in the doorway. I start my car, the engine purring to life with expensive German precision. On screen, my family walks toward the exit, surrounded by murmuring guests. Someone holds up a phone, recording. The weight I've carried since childhood slides from my shoulders, one breath at a time, one step at a time. They'll call soon, demanding explanations, threatening consequences, attempting to twist this into another story about my failures as a daughter, a sister, a woman. But for the first time, I won't be taking their calls. The bittersweet taste of finally using my power against family lingers on my tongue. I pull away from Oakview Country Club, driving toward the future I've built without them. A future where I'm finally visible. Michael Denton strides through the ballroom with purpose, his tailored suit a silent testament to Oakview's standards. The guests part before him, like the Red Sea before Moses, whispers trailing in his wake. I watch through the security feed on my phone, heart hammering against my ribs. Mrs. Matthews? Michael's voice carries the perfect blend of professionalism and authority as he approaches Sabrina's throne. A moment of your time, please. Sabrina glances up, annoyance flashing across her face. We're in the middle of something here. Can it wait? I'm afraid not. Michael stands taller, hands clasped behind his back. I need to inform you that effective immediately, all Delaney family memberships at Oakview Country Club have been revoked. The ballroom freezes. Someone gasps. A champagne flute shatters against marble. Excuse me? Sabrina's voice rises an octave, her hand instinctively covering her baby bump. Your membership has been terminated. I'll need to ask you and your guests to vacate the premises within the next 30 minutes. Mother surges forward, her pink linen suit nearly matching the color rising in her cheeks. This is outrageous. Do you have any idea who we are? Who authorized this? Management, ma'am. The decision is final. The murmurs grow louder. Someone, probably Carla Whitfield with her insatiable appetite for drama, holds up a phone, recording. The perfect ammunition for her country club gossip group. I want to speak to the owner, Father demands, appearing suddenly at Mother's elbow. Michael's face remains impassive. I'm afraid that won't be possible at this time. I watch the scene unfold from my car, parked at the far end of Oakview's sprawling lot. The weight I've carried for decades, the constant strain of seeking approval, of making myself smaller lifts with each second. The security feed shows Sabrina's face crumpling. Not in sadness, but in outrage. Her perfect baby shower, her coronation as Dallas's maternal queen bee, disintegrating before her eyes. Mother frantically gathering personal items while Father argues with 2 security guards who've materialized beside Michael. I should feel guilt. I should be second-guessing this nuclear option. But all I feel is free. My phone vibrates. Mother's calling. I let it ring twice, 3 times, drawing a deep breath before answering. How could you? Mother's voice trembles with rage and tears. How could you humiliate us like this? At Sabrina's baby shower of all places. Hello to you too, Mom. My voice sounds different to my ears, stronger, unburdened. Don't you dare be flippant with me. Fix this right now. Call whoever you need to call. Your father is having a fit, and Sabrina. Her voice breaks. Sabrina is devastated. This stress isn't good for the baby. I can't fix it, Mom. What do you mean you can't? You must know someone. Use that little computer job of yours. I own Oakview. Silence. Complete, absolute silence. And 13 other clubs across 4 states. The silence stretches, elastic and fragile. That's not possible, she whispers finally. You can't afford. I've been able to afford it for years. I bought Oakview 3 years ago through my investment firm. But your little startup. My little startup sold for $900 million. I'm worth over $2 billion now. Her breathing is the only sound for several long seconds. I wanted you to know what it feels like. I continue, my voice steady. To be treated as less than, to be humiliated in front of people whose opinions you value. Krista Emma Delaney. Her voice hardens, falling back on maternal authority like armor. You will fix this right now. Family doesn't do this to family. Family doesn't do what you've all been doing to me for 31 years either. And yet, here we are. My other line beeps Harrison, my PR director. I have to go, Mom. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. NES. I switch calls before she can respond. Miss Delaney, we're tracking significant social media activity regarding Oakview. Harrison reports without preamble. Someone posted a video from inside. It's gaining traction. Expected. Let it ride for now. Your sister is attempting damage control, claiming it was a misunderstanding. I laugh, the sound foreign even to my own ears. Of course she is. Your legal team confirms you acted within your rights as owner. No liability concerns. A text from Alicia, my best friend since college. Just saw what happened at Oakview. You finally did it. I'm here if you need me. The contrast strikes me like lightning, these people who value me, who've watched me diminish myself for family approval, versus those who've spent decades ensuring I never forgot my place. Within an hour, the video hits viral status. Socialite kicked out of her own baby shower reaches 1.2 million views, with comments split between sympathy for the poor pregnant woman and speculation about what she did to deserve such treatment. What no one knows yet is the identity of the club's mysterious owner. My phone pings with an email from Aunt Diane. Whatever is happening, please consider your sister's social standing. People are talking. This family has a reputation to uphold. Of course. The reputation. Always the reputation. Security calls to report. Sabrina attempted to visit my Austin headquarters, but was denied entry. Father's attorney reached out to my legal team, threatening vague consequences, only to be informed they have no legal recourse. Later that evening, I sink into my office chair, a glass of Cabernet in hand. The Forbes magazine with my cover story sits on my desk, The Invisible Billionaire, How Krista Delaney Built an Empire While No One Was Watching. The headline seems almost prophetic now. My phone rings again, Mother. Krista, please. You have to listen. Her voice sounds different, frightened. It's Sabrina. She's gone into labor. I set down my wine, my heart suddenly a stone in my chest. She's only 7 months. The doctors think it's the stress. She's asking for you. I close my eyes, feeling the crossroads beneath my feet. The power I've claimed comes with choices I never anticipated making. Where is she? Dallas Memorial. Please hurry. I hang up and stare at the Forbes magazine, my face looking back at me, confident, accomplished, exactly who I've worked to become, the woman who finally stood up for herself. But at what cost? The next day, the email arrives at 6:17 a.m. while I'm reviewing acquisition reports. Emma Grace Matthews, 6 pounds, 4 ounces, born 4:32 a.m. No photo. No details. Just clinical facts from Aunt Diane. Always the reluctant bridge between warring factions. I stare at the words on my screen, imagining tiny fingers and toes, wondering if she has Sabrina's eyes or Cole's chin. For a moment, something soft unfurls in my chest, then hardens when I notice the email was sent to 34 recipients. I'm just another name on a list. Congratulations on becoming an aunt, Michael says when he enters my office at 9. He places a coffee on my desk, black, no sugar, exactly as I like it. Your family expecting you to rush to the hospital? I glance up from revenue projections for our Miami property. They texted 4 times last night. Mother called twice this morning. Will you go? In 2 weeks, maybe. I tap my fountain pen against the spreadsheet. The timing is convenient, don't you think? Early labor, right after social humiliation? Michael's expression remains professional, but his eyes soften. We both know what's happening. The baby has become their newest weapon. For 14 days, I immerse myself in work, deflecting the barrage of messages. Emma needs her aunt. Family is everything. She looks just like you did. Each one designed to penetrate the armor I've spent years building. When I finally walk into Sabrina's pale yellow nursery, a room that probably cost more than most people's cars, I'm prepared for tears, accusations, manipulation. Instead, I find exhaustion. Sabrina sits in a mahogany rocking chair, dark circles beneath her eyes, hair limp against her shoulders. The carefully cultivated image of Dallas perfection has crumbled under the weight of sleepless nights and social rejection. "You came," she whispers, voice rough from fatigue. "I said I would." I stand awkwardly at the threshold, gift bag dangling from my fingers. The crib by the window holds a tiny bundle wrapped in the blanket I knitted, the one I assumed they'd thrown away after the shower. The sight strikes me with unexpected force. "Can I hold her?" The words escape before I can stop them. Something flickers across Sabrina's face. Relief, perhaps, or calculation. She nods. Emma weighs almost nothing in my arms, a warm, breathing miracle with a dusting of dark hair. Her eyes open briefly unfocused, startlingly blue before closing again. I've negotiated billion-dollar deals with less anxiety than I feel holding this fragile new person. "Everyone's asking about you," Sabrina says. "They want to know about the mysterious sister who owns half of Texas." 3%, I correct automatically. Hardly half. "The girls at the club," her voice catches. "Former club. They're all desperate for invitations to your next event." "I don't host events." "You should. You could rebuild our standing in the community. For Emma's sake." There it is, the angle I've been waiting for. "Is that why you invited me today? To convince me to rehabilitate your social status?" Sabrina's fingers tighten on the armrest. "That's not fair. Isn't it? 30 years of being the family disappointment, and now suddenly I'm useful." "That's not how it was," she protests weakly. "We both know exactly how it was." I gently place Emma back in her crib. "I have a meeting with my financial team in an hour." "Of course you do." Bitterness edges into her voice. "While the rest of us deal with real life, you hide behind your money." I turn to face her fully. "How's Cole handling the downgrade from Oakview to the public golf course?" Her flinch tells me everything. Cole Matthews, who married into Dallas aristocracy for the connections as much as for Sabrina, is discovering that his wife's family no longer opens the right doors. "Dad says this needs to stop," she says, changing tactics. "His friends are asking questions. It's affecting his business." "Good. He's your father. And I was his daughter. That didn't seem to matter when he dismissed everything I ever accomplished." Sabrina's eyes well with tears. "We need you. You need what I can provide." I correct her. "There's a difference." I leave her sitting in the rocking chair, shoulders slumped in defeat, and drive straight to my lawyer's office. 3 days later, while Dallas society whispers about the tech billionaire sister who emerged from nowhere, I establish a $4.5 million trust fund for Emma Grace Matthews. The terms are simple but binding. Accessible at age 25, contingent on completing a financial literacy program, with quarterly statements sent to all family members. Generous, my lawyer says as I sign the final documents, and masterfully cruel. They can't criticize you without looking ungrateful, but every statement will remind them who holds the real power. I don't tell him the truth that Emma deserves better than being raised in a house built on appearances. That perhaps with financial independence, she won't spend 30 years seeking validation from people incapable of giving it. The social fallout spreads like wildfire. My phone fills with connection requests from Sabrina's former friends. Gossip columns run speculative pieces about America's newest stealth billionaire. Mother appears at church alone, while Sabrina posts increasingly desperate social media updates, trying to maintain the facade. The Wilson Charity Gala rescinded their invitation. My PR director reports during our weekly meeting. Apparently, Sabrina's early labor video has gone viral again. Over 1 million views. My stomach tightens. "Take it down." "What?" She looks up from her tablet, confused. "Pay whatever it costs. 100,000. 200,000. "I don't care. Get it off the internet." But it's perfect leverage. The narrative is completely in your favor now. "Emma will see that video someday," I say quietly. "Get it down. All copies." My team executes the order without question the loyalty money can't buy, built on respect rather than fear. While I dismantle my sister's social standing, I'm also dismantling the evidence, protecting my niece from becoming collateral damage in a war that began before her birth. 6 weeks after Emma's arrival, an unmarked envelope appears on my desk. Inside, a handwritten letter on Sabrina's personal stationery, the expensive cream stock with her monogram in gold. "I know I was cruel," she writes in her flowing script. I thought you'd always be the little sister who couldn't keep up. I was wrong. I'm sorry." The words blur as unexpected tears fill my eyes. 30 years of waiting for this acknowledgement, and now that it's here, I don't know what to do with it. My phone rings. Mother's number. "Krista, please," she says when I answer, her voice stripped of its usual polish. "We need to talk. Not about money or status, about family." "Where's Dad?" I ask, though I already know. Her silence confirms what the absent signature on Sabrina's letter suggested. Robert Delaney isn't ready to concede the battle. Perhaps he never will be. "Your father needs time," she offers weakly. I gave him 30 years. The family fortress, once impenetrable in its united rejection of me, has begun to crack. The revelation of my success alone wouldn't have done it. Money merely gave me the leverage to force them to see what they'd refused to acknowledge for decades. The picture of baby Emma on my desk stares up at me with eyes that haven't yet learned to judge. I trace her tiny face with my fingertip, wondering if this is victory or just another form of the validation-seeking I've spent my life fighting. I'll think about it. I tell my mother, and hang up. The cracks in their foundation are widening. Soon, we'll see what remains when the dust settles. I sip my morning coffee in my Austin office when my phone lights up with Marlene's name. It's been 3 months since Sabrina's early labor delivered Emma Grace into the world, 7 pounds and healthy despite the drama surrounding her entry. "Krista, darling, we need to talk about family." Mother's voice carries that sugary tone she reserves for manipulations. "For Emma's sake, we should put this unpleasantness behind us." The office window offers a view of downtown Austin, gleaming towers catching morning sunlight. My empire, built while they dismissed me. "Emma needs her aunt," Mother continues. "Surely you don't want her growing up wondering why her family is fractured." I stay silent, letting her fill the space. A tactic I learned in boardrooms, not from family. "Your father wants to speak with you." A rustle on the line. Then Robert Delaney's voice, gruff and commanding as always. "This nonsense has gone on long enough, Krista. You've made your point." My heart thuds despite myself. 30 years of conditioning doesn't vanish overnight. "What point would that be, Dad?" I keep my tone neutral. This. Revenge. The club memberships. The social media embarrassment. Sabrina had her baby early. His voice hardens. "Your sister was under tremendous stress because of your actions." The familiar guilt rises, but I push it back. I wasn't aware pregnancy complications were in my control. "Our attorney believes we have grounds for emotional distress," he says, dropping the threat casually. "Pastor Williams called to remind us about Christian forgiveness. He thinks you should consider what Jesus would do." I almost laugh. 20 years without setting foot in church, but suddenly they're quoting scripture. What Jesus wouldn't do is spend decades belittling his sister. "Your Aunt Carol is very disappointed in you," Mother adds, reclaiming the phone. Everyone agrees this has gone too far. The coordinated pressure feels familiar, their united front against the younger daughter who never quite fit. The script hasn't changed, only my willingness to follow it. My assistant Jennifer knocks softly, placing a courier package on my desk before slipping out. The Dallas return address catches my eye. "I'll need to call you back," I tell Mother, ending the call despite her protests. Inside the padded envelope sits a smaller pink package tied with white ribbon. My fingers tremble slightly as I unwrap it. A photo of baby Emma, tiny and perfect in a bassinet. She's wrapped in the pale yellow blanket I knitted, the one I placed in that small gift bag at the shower. Beneath the photo, a handwritten note in Sabrina's looping script. She sleeps with it every night. "I see you now, Krista." 5 words. 5 words that contain the acknowledgement I've spent my life seeking. My throat tightens as I trace the ink with my fingertip. My phone buzzes with texts from 3 different family friends, all variations on the same theme. "Life's too short for grudges. Family is everything. You should be the bigger person." For a moment, I consider surrender. The path of least resistance beckons. Apologize, retract my boundaries, return to the familiar role of lesser sister, peace at any price. But the photo of Emma changes everything, not because she needs me, but because she'll need what I've learned, that worth isn't determined by others' recognition. I press the intercom. "Jennifer, please set up a conference call with the Delaneys for tomorrow morning, and book the executive suite at Oakview for Saturday." The next morning, I face my family through the clinical distance of a video call. Sabrina looks tired, the polished perfection dented by new motherhood. Robert's jaw is set in that stubborn line I recognize from mirrors. Marlene hovers anxiously between them. "Thank you for making time," I begin. "I'd like to establish terms for moving forward." "Terms?" Robert's eyebrows shoot up. "Yes." I display my screen, showing a simple document titled Delaney Family Agreement. "First, all public or private diminishment of my career, finances, or life choices stops immediately. This includes jokes about my employment, subtle digs about my marital status, or suggestions that I've somehow failed to measure up." Sabrina's eyes widen. Marlene's hand flies to her pearls. "Second, we will attend monthly sessions with Dr. Ellen Forrester, a family therapist in Dallas, for 1 year minimum." Robert starts to protest, but I continue. "Third, I've established a trust fund for Emma, currently valued at $4.5 million. The terms require her to complete financial literacy education before accessing the principal at age 25. You three will receive quarterly statements but have no control over the funds." "That's very generous," Marlene begins. I'm not finished. "Fourth, I expect public acknowledgement of my professional accomplishments when appropriate in social settings." I switch to a slide showing my Forbes cover, the Wall Street Journal profile, and the key acquisitions of my company over the past 5 years. This is what you've missed while focusing on what I wasn't. 12 luxury properties across 4 states, a commercial real estate portfolio valued at $3.2 billion, over 400 employees who respect my leadership. The stunned silence feels like victory. "I don't need your approval anymore, but I do require your respect if you want a relationship with me. Those are my terms." Robert clears his throat, a flicker of something like grudging admiration crossing his face. "You drive a hard bargain. I learned from watching you, Dad." For the first time, I say it without bitterness. Sabrina speaks finally, her voice lacking its usual polish. "We accept your terms." Marlene dabs at tears. "I never realized. We never saw how much." "I know," I say simply, "but you will now." After the call ends, I sit quietly, absorbing the shift in our family's tectonic plates. Not a complete victory, those only exist in fairy tales, but a new equilibrium. The power to set boundaries had always been mine. I just needed to claim it. On Saturday, I walk into Oakview Country Club as its owner, not as Sabrina's disappointing sister. Michael greets me with a respectful nod, escorting me to the executive dining room where my family waits. Emma sleeps in a carrier beside Sabrina, wrapped in the yellow blanket I made with my own hands. The first gift they ever valued simply because it came from me. Perhaps the only revenge that truly matters is living well enough to set your own terms. I straighten the crystal vase filled with white peonies on my desk, their fragrance floating through my newly redesigned office at Oakview. A year has passed since the baby shower showdown, and the memories have softened around the edges, like old Polaroids fading into gentler colors. The double doors open, and Sabrina enters with Emma balanced on her hip. My niece's chubby hands reach toward me, her tiny fingers opening and closing with impatient desire. Someone's been asking for her Aunt Krista all morning. Sabrina says, transferring Emma into my waiting arms. Emma immediately grabs for my pearl necklace, her latest fascination. I breathe in her baby shampoo scent and kiss the top of her head where fine blonde hair forms a perfect swirl. "Our monthly visit is the highlight of my calendar," I tell Sabrina, and mean it. The transformation in our relationship still surprises me. These visits began as tense, supervised exchanges. Now they flow with a cautious warmth, built on the foundation of clear boundaries and mutual respect. Sabrina glances at the new family photo on my credenza taken at Christmas, when I invited everyone to my Austin penthouse. In it, we stand together, not quite relaxed but no longer adversaries. "Dad mentioned your company's expansion to California," she says, settling into the leather chair across from my desk. "He's telling everyone his daughter is conquering the West Coast." 5 years ago, I would have analyzed every syllable of this statement for hidden barbs. Now I simply nod. The Carmel property closes next week. The monthly visits, the regular family dinners, they're no longer tests I must pass. They're just parts of a life I've chosen to include my family in, on my terms. Emma squirms in my lap, reaching for the wooden puzzle I keep in my drawer for her visits. I set her down on the plush carpet with the toy. "I've been meaning to ask." Sabrina begins, watching Emma carefully fit a triangle block into its corresponding space. Would you speak at my women's leadership conference next month? About building businesses, creating opportunities. I study my sister, searching for the competition that once defined us. Instead, I find only an earnest request. I'd be happy to, I answer. Later that evening, I host the family in Oakview's executive dining room. The same room where I was once invisible now frames a different picture. My father raises his glass. To Krista, who showed this old man that success comes in many forms. Robert says, your latest acquisition proves you've inherited the Delaney business acumen after all. I accept the compliment with a simple, thank you, no longer needing to expand it into something more significant. My worth isn't measured in his praise. A text vibrates my phone. The first scholarship recipient for my Young Women Entrepreneurs program has accepted. I smile, thinking of the bright-eyed college sophomore who reminded me so much of myself. Except she won't spend years seeking validation from people who can't see her value. Mother leans toward me. You seem different these days. More. She pauses, searching for the word. At peace. I finish for her. And I am. The Thursday therapy sessions have helped me understand that the approval I sought was never going to fill the emptiness I felt. That space could only be filled from within. Emma toddles to me, arms raised. I lift her onto my lap, and she immediately reaches for my water glass. Careful, sweetie, I murmur, guiding her small hand. Across the table, Sabrina catches my eye and mouths, thank you. Not for helping with Emma, I realize, but for something deeper, for giving her a second chance, for allowing this new version of our family to exist. Tomorrow I'll review Emma's trust fund documents, adjust the quarterly deposits, make sure her future is secure. Tonight, I simply exist in this moment of hard-won harmony. The Forbes magazine cover featuring me rests on my office wall, adjacent to Emma's photo. Once, I would have paraded that magazine before my family, desperate for acknowledgement. Now it's just evidence of a journey that brought me here to this table, to this moment, to this sense of belonging that comes not from their approval but from my own.